Today I'm going to talk about why my boyfriend makes me go into manic episodes all the time. I'm just kidding. This video is about how if you are bipolar, getting into a new relationship will make you go into a manic episode.
What if I made up my mind to rely on you? I thought I wanted it easy, but easy never needed you.
Make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell button next to the subscribe button so that you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. So when you get into a new relationship, most people experience the honeymoon phase of the relationship. This extreme excitement, happiness, pleasure that is literally a drug effect in your brain. Serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. What is the worst thing for someone who is bipolar that will trigger a manic episode? Putting a bipolar person on an antidepressant. Antidepressant, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It allows your neurotransmitters to give more serotonin to your brain. Other types of antidepressants, more dopamine to your brain. Being put on an antidepressant alone will spike you up into mania. So getting into a new relationship is literally as if you're giving yourself a huge dosage of antidepressants that you're on for months and months and months. I'm gonna give a ton of insight advice in this video, but ultimately there's nothing we can do about it. And regardless of how healthy and calm and peaceful the relationship is, it will just intrinsically destabilize your brain. My bipolar started fully coming out all the way when I got into a relationship in college, and at the time I just knew that my experience of euphoria, that rush of emotion at the beginning of a relationship, I just knew that my amount of that was way more than anyone else. It wasn't just the relationship, it made me go manic. I had to see him every single day, and if we didn't talk so long every day, I felt like we were weeks or months apart. Time completely changes. The amount of thoughts and emotions and experiences that go through my brain in a single day, it feels like a week, and a few days can be like a month. Just so much is going on in your brain, and the most confusing thing that is just so damaging and just you'll never ever know reality is that being manic can mimic the effects of being infatuated, being into someone, being attracted. If you're already in a manic or hypomanic state, you may immediately fall for someone and then a month later stop being manic and look at them and assess the situation and not even be attracted to them at all, not want to be with them. This happened to me as well in college with another guy. If you're already in that manic state, you can kind of point the euphoria towards someone and genuinely believe that you're attracted to them and love them, even though it's not real and it's just neurotransmitters in your head. I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this are looking back on experiences you've had and kind of questioning if a certain relationship was only because you were manic, or that another relationship you were in seems to have triggered a manic episode or just generally destabilized your brain. I'm gonna make an entire video on emotional detachment as well, which happens to me constantly, where my brain will just turn off all emotion towards my boyfriend. I will feel nothing, not care at all, not want to be in the relationship, super bored by them, not attracted to them at all. And so this extreme infatuation can go off like a switch into detachment, and then can go back on into that euphoria and then back into detachment randomly. And so of course you're gonna lead people on, and the other person's gonna be so confused what you're feeling and why you're feeling what you're feeling. And of course you are as well, because you're not changing how you feel. Something in you is forcing you to feel everything or nothing. This is why I hate relationships. Being in a relationship is the hardest thing I could ever do. Moving forward to now. So I've been diagnosed since the beginning of 2016. I got into a new relationship the end of last summer, and so we've been together for about 15 months. And my experience with my bipolar in our relationship has been chaos. For a year, since last September, every single psychiatrist appointment, we were changing one of my medicines because it wasn't working for a year. And so I'd go to an appointment every 3 or 4 weeks and be like, this is awful, this is not working. And we were constantly changing meds for so long because nothing would work, because I had this constant antidepressant effect in my brain from the relationship. My boyfriend got to a point where he was so mad at my psychiatrist because it seems like nothing she did was working, and she just was horrible at figuring out how to medicate me. But the reality is, because I was in the relationship, it was constant antidepressant effect, which you should never be on an antidepressant if you have bipolar. Rarely ever prescribed. So my experience is I was constantly having symptoms, constantly having mixed episodes. We tried so hard, strongest antipsychotics, adding on stronger mood stabilizers, and just nothing was working. If we had control of that honeymoon phase infatuation feeling, we would just go off of it. If that was a medication, you wouldn't be on it. Since we've been together for so long, I finally had the experience in August where I went to my psychiatrist appointment and I said that I'm doing well and that we didn't have to change my meds. So it takes a long time and you have to be patient until you can be more calm and not feel as much emotion towards the person. I recently decreased my antipsychotic a little bit from 300 to 200 milligrams of Seroquel. I realized that I had barely any emotion, like I was just really numb towards things. For example, at my undergrad university, Pepperdine, there was a shooting, not on the campus, but at a place where a lot of students were. Someone died, then there was a fire that was about to be on our campus and destroy our campus, and I knew so many people who were there, and the fire is coming in. So all of this stuff is happening, and I didn't cry at all. Like, I didn't care. Of course, intellectually, mentally, horrible, and it was so terrible, but everyone who I knew from college was saying they were crying. It was so extreme, knowing that someone from our university was murdered. But at the time, I was so medicated away, and during that time I was grateful that I didn't have as much emotion, because I preferred being so medicated down than being in constant mixed episodes, manic stuff. Because I'm in a relationship, it got to the point where I just didn't even care if I barely felt any emotion, because I just wanted it under control. So there were a few months, end of summer, beginning of fall, where I just didn't feel that much towards him. It was just, there was no other option but super medicating me because everything was so intense. I'm starting an entire series talking about my experience on different medicines, but if you are on Seroquel, I was on 300 milligrams. Like I said, end of summer, the fall, it was kind of too much. And once I went down to 200 milligrams, I suddenly started feeling emotion and emotionally caring for the relationship, and I wish I'd gone down on that sooner. And I said this in a video at the beginning of 2017.
And time in my life, this isn't gonna be my whole life. Like, when I am married and have kids, when I get in a relationship with someone, with a guy, I would have to go on medicine because it's just too much emotion, you know?
So I knew at the time that if I did get into a relationship, I would have to be super medicated to balance out the antidepressant effects. My bipolar was really bad in 2015, 2016, halfway through 2016, I was balanced on meds, and that continued for a year, where sometimes I'd have slight depression or sort of manic things happening, but in general, I was sleeping enough, I was running every day, I was taking my medicine, I was completely balanced on my meds for a year. There was even a period of 5 or 6 months where I was completely off my medicine and I was fine. Once I started falling in love with Trevor, everything became so hard. I was on a mood stabilizer named Trileptal, which now I've switched for Lamictal, but I added on an antipsychotic. I tried several different antipsychotics. Currently I am on Seroquel, but I experienced this really weird phenomenon, and I'm still experiencing it now, where I'm some sort of manic to where I don't have memories and I don't remember things, and it feels like I'm constantly disconnected from our relationship and from myself. Bipolar creates a lot of brain damage. In depression, you can have complete blanks in memory. You don't remember the time you were in depression. And it's the same with hypomanic and manic things happening. One time when I was really bipolar 1 manic episode, I have complete blank. It's as if you were really, really drunk and you forget what happened the next day, like you blacked out. I have that experience on and off where, because I'm bipolar, I'm not emotionally grounded, emotionally connected throughout the relationship. At the beginning of our relationship, I took notes every time we talked. I literally wrote in-depth journal entries of every day we spent together when we were together and not long distance, because I was terrified of forgetting everything. The first month or two of our relationship was amazing, everything happening in the relationship, but what was going on in my brain was so awful. Because you're more manic and have the memory loss, you forget emotionally about the person you love. It's as if you have a kidney transplant and it's not the right type of kidney, and so your body is rejecting it. That's how it feels in my relationship. For the first 2 or 3 months, it was this constant feeling where I would forget what happened the few weeks before, and then suddenly I'm really close to this person who I don't know at all. It's like your body is constantly rejecting, and it's so hard to just stay and trust that you will remember them and reattach emotionally. I made a really in-depth video talking about every single part of a bipolar relationship. I'm gonna link it here and below. And I went into the memory loss, the detachment. I made it a year ago when I was kind of new to the relationship and experiencing all of the issues. So I recommend, if you're getting into a relationship or just for the future, to tell the person you're with that the first year of your bipolar may be way worse than how it normally is. Having bipolar is not that bad. It's not constantly having manic and depression. Your medicine should prevent all of that from happening. So the first part of the relationship is going to be really chaotic, really hard, really awful when it comes to your bipolar side effects. So make sure to be going to a really good psychiatrist and maybe also seeing a therapist every week or every couple weeks during the first few months or the first year of the relationship, just to make sure that your brain is doing okay. So if you're in that situation, just have patience. Eventually the emotions will calm down. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!